All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order, the meeting of the Abington Building Committee for the new DPW and Central Fire Station Committee. Today is Wednesday, January 28th, 9 a.m. I just want to note for the record that myself and Derek Hamadi are two of the members of the Building Committee. Bob Persicchini is joining us by Zoom as the third member. Unfortunately, Gordon Slaney and Kevin Dunham could not be with us this morning, but we do have a quorum. Also on the Zoom is Todd Costa from KBA Architects and Brian McCusker from Weston and Sampson. And then obviously we have Michael Maresco, who's now our, as of yesterday, our permanent town manager. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sean.
All righty.
Appreciate that.
And just to introduce other people who are here, we have Taylor and Dave, who are from Portnoy Associates, our owner's project managers. What did I say?
Portnoy.
Our school, really? Wow.
Pomeroy Associates, sorry, Taylor and Dave. Oh, it
Taylor.
feels like it's a Monday. Chief and Deputy Fire Chief John Stone from the DPW are also here in attendance. So, we just want to kind of have a meeting and get some updates out there and take care of some business. So the first thing on the agenda is the approval of minutes. They've been distributed previous to today's meeting. There are 3 sets of minutes from July 17, from October 24th, and November 25th of 2025. Unless anybody has any edits or comments, I'd like to take one motion to approve all 3 at the same time. So moved by Derek. Bob? Do you want to second that? Bob, is your microphone on?
Sorry, I was on mute. I'll second the motion.
All right, Bob seconds the motion. All those in favor of approving the 3 minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Actually, I need a roll call vote. Bob? Say aye.
Aye.
Derek?
Aye.
And Sean says aye. Thank you. Okay, and then also I had distributed, each town committee and commission is responsible to submit a report to the annual town report, which we did last year. I drafted one for this year, which I sent out and around. There was one edit where I had to correct, I identified Derek as a firefighter EMT when he's actually a firefighter paramedic, which is much higher elevated level. Sorry about that, Derek. But is there any other edits, questions, comments about the report? Otherwise, I'd like to get the committee to vote to approve it. Go ahead, Bob.
I have a small edit. It's just where you talk about the E911 grants.
Yeah.
If you go down, it says communication systems required for contemporary fire stations. Should it say fire stations or fire station?
Well, in general, I think all new fire stations need that contemporary equipment, right? I mean, I guess you can read it either way. I can say for a contemporary fire stations or for contemporary fire stations. All new fire stations need this E911 equipment. So personally, I think it's okay as it's written, but I'm willing to change.
Yeah, now that I'm reading it, I agree.
Okay?
I'm reading.
Then can I get a motion to approve this for submission to the town report?
I'll move that too.
Derek makes the motion,
I'll second.
Bob seconds. Roll call vote. Bob, do you approve?
Yes.
Derek?
Aye.
And Sean says aye, so that will be submitted to the town manager's office and the town planner's office. Thank you. Then we also wanted to just have a quick update of some invoices that have been submitted. As you know, the procedure has always been, Derek is kind of our numbers guy on the committee side. Pomeroy Associates looks at all the invoices also. Once they both approve it, it gets submitted to the town manager's office, who then signs off and sends it to the town accountant for submission. Derek has gone through a few of them, and we just want to take a vote to ratify those that have been done since the November 25th meeting. So Derek, I'll turn it over to you.
Alrighty, so since our last meeting, we have 2 Pomeroy invoices, one for $53,648 and one for $45,900. And we have 1 KBA invoice of $48,113. Those have all been submitted and paid off.
So Bob, would you make a motion to ratify the payment of those Pomeroy and KBA invoices that Derek just made mention of? So moved, he said, with his, you're muted again, Bob.
Sorry.
There
So
you go.
moved.
So moved. I'll second it and take a roll call vote. Bob, do you approve?
Aye.
Derek, do you approve?
Aye.
And Sean approves. That's the two Pomeroy and the one KBA, and there's also a handful of smaller ones.
Yeah, so on the smaller invoices, we have our monthly Triumph modular, which is for the trailers invoice, that was for $1,075. OptConnect invoice, this was for the wireless communication device for the fuel island, that was for $310. Boston Green was for $9,945, that was for drums removal. Encore Fire Protection was for $396, that's the service cost for them connecting the fire protection at the fuel island. Another Triumph, which is a monthly one, that one was for $1,075, and then a UTS, which was transportation, concrete transportation, that was for $100.
100.
Yep.
Bob, if you don't have any questions, can you make a motion to ratify the payment of those 6 invoices?
So moved.
So moved, and I will second it. Bob, vote
Aye.
in favor. Aye. Derek?
Aye.
And Sean says aye. Those have been ratified and approved. Thank you, Derek, and the boys from Pomeroy for reviewing all that stuff. Next up, I just want to move on and ask our project managers, who are on the site every single day, to give us a little update as where we are right now. And now we're in the end of January. Things are moving along. We're battling with the cold weather and the recent 20 inches of snow. But otherwise, you want to give us and the folks at home a little update where we are.
Absolutely. And things are still moving on site, even, with the snow. It takes a couple days to dig out, but they get through it. We're going to tag team this between Dave and I, and I'll give kind of a more kind of general update, and then Dave will get into kind of what they're dealing with right now and what's kind of moving on for the future. So I think last time we spoke was right before they put up the steel. So now, if you're driving by the site, you can see it. You can see the steel is up for the fire station. The steel is done now. It's plumbed. And the steel in the back of that is the DPW. And that's about 95% complete. There's still a few pieces that they're working in there that they're waiting from the manufacturer on. But all things considered, both superstructures are now up, which is excellent. So now, kind of what they're doing in the building is roughing out MEPs, underground utilities, that sort of thing. So on the phase 1 side, I know the biggest thing that we had been talking about was getting the fuel island up and online and the salt shed complete. And as of last week, both of those happened. The salt shed was opened up 100%. DPW is utilizing the salt shed, and the fuel island was open last week. And there was a lot of work done between all parties to get that fuel island online before the storm. That was the major push there. We kind of drew a line in the sand and said, hey, mid-January we need that fuel island. We need that for the town. So there's been a lot of work done to get that online. Dave's spent a lot of time on that. So I think all things considered, this project has had, its difficulties that we know that at the start. But I think between the team, staying on track, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, we're kind of working in that light now. We're getting, the risk is definitely diminished at this point, and we're really picking up steam. The contractor has even said they've picked up a couple days. They're probably going to be tweaking their schedule to show an earlier completion date. But yeah, things are working well now. Not for lack of, like I said, a start at the beginning with the issues with the soil and unforeseen, conditions under the earth. But I think we've overcome them now, and I think the team's working together great. I'll let Dave jump in if I didn't steal any of his thunder, but if you can just hit on some things, I guess, that they're working on now, it'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're trying to get all the snow out of there. They protected the fire station with tops and everything, and they got temporary heaters in there right now. They're trying to star out the ground to get the slab poured for the administration area, office area, both second floor and first floor slab. They're trying to pour sometime February 9th, give or take a couple of days, depending if we get another storm or not. But they got it up to like probably 40 degrees in there right now, so things are going good in that, and all the underground utility are done for the fire station. DPW is going to have the little hands try to get rid of all the snow All the MEP hangers are in the ceiling. Probably half of the siding and roofing are already on site right now. So once they get some of the snow out of there in the next couple of days, they'll start closing that building up and working on the admin area. The admin area is a bunch of metal stud block walls have to be done. So we got to get the outside skin on first, and then we'll heat the space, and then we'll start building stuff. So, I mean, that's really it for now. I mean, things are going well. I mean, the fuel island, we're gonna do some training on Friday for everybody in the town, whoever wants to come, so.
Everybody who works for the town can come. Not everybody in town can
Well,
come. This is
no.
only a fuel island
Well,
for
you-
town vehicles.
You need a key.
Yes, you do need a key to get there.
And then what about drainage structures, underground utilities?
Yeah, they're putting in the major drainage structures, the water storage structures underground. There's 5 of those total. They have 3 of them in already. There's 2 more to go, so they're working on those, and they gotta get the snow out of the way, but they got the one big one that has to go. They'll probably take about 2 weeks to put that in. They're gonna probably start that probably Monday, Tuesday of next week, and then they'll start on all the main utility runs and National Grid run power for both buildings.
Yeah, when Dave says 5 systems, so there are many components within that one, system. It's not just, one structure. They're large systems.
The underground drainage
Yes.
systems, yeah. I wanted to thank both Taylor and Dave, but especially Dave is an Abington resident for your viewers at home, so this is kind of near and dear to his heart. But especially the work you've been doing pushing National Grid to process the paperwork and to approve everything and get the permits going, because that could be critical to slowing, if not stopping our project at some point. And as we're moving forward, I just thank you for the amount of time you're putting in on them to kind of get that lined up. It still is impressive to me, our general contractor for Phase 2 basically is the construction of the buildings, GNR, the amount of coordination that is required for a project like this, not just between the 2 buildings, but with all the subcontractors and keeping the police department fully operational, not interfering with their work. It's impressive, but it's also the communication that you guys from Pomeroy Associates put forth to keep that really greased well. So I just want to continue to thank you for the work that you guys are doing there. Some of it is never seen or heard about, but, we understand the work that you're doing to kind of keep things moving forward. And you mentioned the schedule we're pretty much on schedule. Just for people who don't know, what is the anticipated schedule of completion? Phase 1, as we know it, is now done. We're gonna do final inspections, let's say, a little checklist. But the salt shed and the fuel island have been completed, along with the new driveway entrance. And before you answer that question, I want to thank DPW, fire, police, and everyone who got the fuel island up and running literally the day before the big snowstorm, and the salt shed. It was baptism by fire, and it was a huge stress test for all the town departments who were using that. So thank you for all the people who went through that and did that, and all the employees. But if we can go back to what the schedule right now that we can move forward from Phase 1, what are we looking for at Phase 2 in general terms?
Yeah, the contractor, right now they're looking at early spring of '27. They were hoping to finish it, more late winter or even during the winter, '27, so very early on, January, February of '27. But that the issues that we dealt with the pistons and the asbestos pushed that off a couple months. So their schedule right now, like I said, is showing, spring. I think it's April or May. In that area of '27. But, we've been diving into that schedule a lot, and I really think they can beat that by a good month or 2. I think there's a lot of buffer in that schedule, and even kind of just talking with the contractor yesterday, they feel really good about the schedule. They'll never quite tell us until we start getting a little bit closer that, we're going to beat that. But, all things considered, I think how quickly they're moving now, the pace of other projects that are like it that I'm seeing, schedules that I've worked through before, I really feel confident that they're gonna beat that schedule. So,
And that
it's good.
finish date is really the completion of the DPW building and the fire station.
Correct.
We anticipate the DPW building will be finished probably in the fall of this year.
Yes,
Right, so
yeah.
we're gonna have to coordinate how we do that, but our goal is to move the DPW from the North School into the new building before next winter.
Correct. Yeah, we're only planning to have them do one winter, which is this winter there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the DPW building will be finished before the fire station building. Just because it's a more simple structure.
Right.
You know, the bay there is just a more simple bay. But you know, it will be finished before, and our critical path, as we call it, is the fire station. So when we say completion, you're right. That's everything. That's, you know, paving. That's 100% done. You know, moving in sort of scenario.
And I know I think I speak for everyone at this table. It was just a huge relief to see the steel going up, to get out of the ground, because we were in the ground for so long. And now to see that process and see those structures, I'm sure for Derek it's a dream come true, because you've been working on this for 5 or 6 years now?
7.
7 years?
Yeah.
So kudos that we're well on the way. Bob, did you want to add anything to the general discussion about schedule and coordination issues?
Sure. I want to go back and really say kudos to Pomeroy Associates for keeping us very well informed of all the items that have been going on. The same with Weston and Sampson. And KBA. We've, you know, this project has been kind of a project that had multiple phases to it that needed a lot of coordination, and the team has really come through. I'm very pleased at what I'm seeing going on. We have a great building committee that is staying on top of things, and it's exciting to see it all come together, even though I'm 1,500 miles away right now.
Yeah, we're real happy for you, Bob. And I want to mention again, it's a 5-member committee, but I hate to put the spotlight on only 2, but Derek and Bob, for the viewers at home, have to know how much work and time they're putting into this. Yes, the sequence of events basically is the subcontractors submit paperwork to the general contractor for approval, from everything to paper towel dispensers, to cabinetry, to steel connections, to plumbing, all that stuff. There's paperwork for literally every different part of the building. It goes to Pomeroy, and it goes to the general contractor, but then it also goes to Bob Persicchini and Derek Hamadi. And these 2 guys, Bob and Derek, have been looking at every single piece. They forward it to John Stone at the DPW. They review it with the chief and deputy chief. And the time that they're spending on this is, I can't, it's just hard to describe, but it's invaluable to the town. Not that Pomeroy's not doing a good job looking at it. They are looking at it for us. But then to have these 2 extra set of eyes is just a benefit. And I just want the townspeople to recognize how valuable their experience and their commitment is, because it's just impressive to me from looking at the work you guys are doing. Had to put that on the record.
Yeah, can I just jump in on that?
Sure.
I think it's different. They're looking at it a different way, right? We're looking at it to make sure the town's getting what they bought and paid for, to make sure that it's exactly, you know, what's in the specs and in the drawings, right? And then, you know, the further oversight, you know, that Derek and Bob, or, you know, really anybody, DPW, when they look at these things again, they're looking at it from, like, how are we going to use this?
Right.
Will this work for us? And I would say 99% of the things have been vetted before, but there's also things that they just want to take another look at, you know, whether or not it's going to work for them. And there's been, you know, small changes we made, nothing major, but it's great, like you said, to have that other set of eyes from the actual user, you know, that's using it. And like I said, that coordination does go on before the drawings go out, but still, when you start to see things in shop drawings and you start to talk about them, you know, you might think about something a little bit differently, or you might want to change things, and so that sort of after the fact coordination is happening as well too.
Go ahead, Chief.
If I can kind of add on to that, Sean, I agree completely. Having Derek look at every in and out for the department from a functionality perspective for us, looking at things, like what's going to work best for Abington Fire. Between that and Bob's mechanical knowledge in the background, he mentions more. I did building maintenance years ago, and he mentions more things that I have no clue what he's talking
Yep.
about, but I've learned from. So between him and Derek, he's just so meticulous on every level. They make this project so much easier, and it's going to be the best building you guys have done. I guarantee it.
I agree. I mean, I'm sure Derek and Bob's wives are are not thrilled with the amount of time they're putting into it, but we greatly appreciate it. And we still got, another year to go. But again, it's great. It really, no building is perfect, no set of drawings is perfect, it never is, even if you're just building a single-family house. So it's critical that as each step gets, moves forward, that you do look at things and say, do we really need that? And there's been a couple of instances where we were able to say, you know what, we don't really need that, we can save some money and don't do it, or we'll go the more cost-effective reason, we don't need to spend the money for, the really, really, really nice refrigerator. We're gonna get just a good, solid refrigerator. I mean, that's just a simple example. We're doing everything we can to try to kind of stay in the budget and work forward. In that regard, unless there's anything we wanted to say, maybe Taylor, just a general budget update as to where we are, where we're moving?
Yeah, so I think at the last meeting, I kind of gave a general update as well, too, but, really what's put us behind the 8 ball with the budget is the unforeseen soils, the piston and the ACM removal. Those have been really the only hit to our budget. Other than a few one-offs, small change orders here or there, the unforeseen category in our change order log is 95, maybe 97% of our changes to date have all been because of the soil issue that we had to literally dig our way out of. So we're out of that now. So the risk in my mind is almost getting to the point where there really isn't any risk other than some small coordination items that might pop up here or there, but we're really in the clear as far as what we're going to find in the ground. We're out of the ground completely, other than a few utility things like that, but we're really looking good. But I can't stress enough that it's really took a toll on our contingency, and it's really brought it down to basically zero. And that money in the spring is going to be extremely valuable to keep this moving the way we'd like to. So. I don't want to get into the actual, numbers of things. I think that's a little more detailed, but, we'd like to keep a sizable contingency, and we've been working through that contingency because of the issues that we've had with the soils. So.
Yeah, let me just say that money in the spring that you mentioned,
Yes.
that phrase, is we've been working with the select board and the town manager's office, and now our newest town manager. It was approximately $1.6 million in extra unanticipated soil removal and disposal costs and all. And there's a statute in Massachusetts which is intended just for this, where it allows towns who are cleaning up town properties, with contaminated or impacted soils, and there is a difference, to basically spread that cost over 10 years. And that's what the town is proposing to do. It's not an override, it's within the town budget. One of the line items in the town budget is to pay for bonds and borrowing and all, and the town manager's office has confirmed that there is sufficient money in that so that we can borrow that money and pay that over the 10 years, and thus that 1.6 can be infused back into our budget to cover those bills that we've already paid for, which then, in effect, replenishes our contingency, puts back money into the purchase of furnishings, which we had to cancel for the time being. Now it's back there. So we don't have 1.6 total free to spend. That's already allocated for upcoming expenses, but it puts us back on budget.
Correct.
So we appreciate the work that the town managers and the select office and the select board have done, and we just don't actually get that money until town meeting approves the entire general budget. So that will make this project move forward and kind of stay on schedule, and really we're on budget other than that one item. Right.
Yeah, and there's been a ton of work by, I can't say enough about really the whole team, the design team, the town, the project team, the contractor. We've really been doing everything possible to try to save the town money when it came to this soil issue, and different ways to keep it on site, different ways to process it, different ways to classify it. And if anybody knows anything about soil, which a lot of people in this room probably now know a lot more than they ever want to know, it's not an easy process when you're classifying these soils and having to ship them out, disposal. It's not like the old days where you just load up a truck and you bring it somewhere. Every load of soil on a job site now is classified, and then it has to go to an accepting facility. And some facilities don't take certain classifications of soil, so you have to find a different facility, so on and so forth. And they charge you by, the ton, and different classifications of soil are more expensive. And so, our kind of goal when all this started was we need to keep as much of this on site as possible. So, we've added, soil to banks, we've added it, to landscape areas, we've added everywhere. We've tried to keep it in place and use geofabric, and, so the team really has gone through extensive, problem solving to keep the money on site and not have to spend it, getting rid of soil, which is, it's crazy costs. And that's again, that's the really our only hit to contingency has been, the issues with the soils and the things under there. But we're working through it, and we're through it now. And I think we're in a really good place construction-wise now.
I want to point to one specific bill that came in, and to the value of Pomeroy Associates. All the bills get submitted, and then you guys go through them and kind of check the time and labor, the rental costs that are in there, make sure that everything's, there's no mistakes in the bill or no double time that might be, things might have been counted twice. And for example, we had received a bill for, I think it was like $260,000 for some soil work, and you guys were able to come to an agreement with the contractor to reduce it down to about $150,000. I think you're using the right numbers.
Yep.
That's huge for us, for the town of Abington, the taxpayers, and so we appreciate the work that you're doing there. And I also wanted to mention some of the other things that this committee and the people working with us in the town hall are doing to make this project go forward and to use other sources of funds other than taxpayer monies. The fire department and Pomeroy have been working with the E911 group over, they're based in Holbrook, I understand. And we've said it before, but I wanted to mention again, Abington was able to get $750,000, a $750,000 grant to pay for all the E911 equipment in the fire station. All those connections, the communication, that was huge. We were hoping we would get that at the beginning of this project, but we were able to get it. And then the town planner and some members of the Board of Selectmen and the Water Department obtained a $1.2 million grant to replace the Central Street water main, which is very, very old. It had a break in it earlier, a couple of years ago, actually. They replaced part of it. That's going to help us a lot, and we're trying now to coordinate with them. That's outside of our project. We don't have anything to do with Central Street, but the water department and the town is going to hire a contractor to replace that. We just want to make sure and try to coordinate that they get that work done before the fire station's ready to be opened, because we don't want to have to shut down the street while the brand-new station's ready to operate. But that's another example where money's coming from. And then more recently, the DPW, what's the name of it? Smart Streets?
Complete Streets.
Complete Streets program, another grant program
Yes.
that had paid for a lot of new sidewalks in the Froyle School area.
Yep.
And they've applied for another grant to extend it down beyond Central Street to
Wilson Place.
Wilson Place, thank you. And in doing so, they're looking at doing some improvements to the Central Street, Washington Street intersection, which again will benefit the public safety complex we're building, but it would be with another state grant. So thank you for doing that. So we've got a lot of kind of people working to make improvements and take advantage of every single grant that we can get our hands on, and I'm sure we'll continue to do that moving forward the next year.
Can I add one
Yeah.
thing? I don't want to hammer the soil issue, but just for some people at home that might not, be up on it too, I just want to emphasize too, there was, somewhere in the neighborhood of over 30 test pits and borings done on our site. And, sometimes it is just trying to find a needle in the haystack. None of those of which showed, the trash issue that we found. And the biggest part of it was on, the private property that, the town acquired. So it was, the due diligence on the site was done. There was extensive due diligence done on the site. And the phase 2, I would say, is extremely well documented. Phase 1, it just, sometimes you go digging for something, you don't hit it. And, we've had projects where, you poke holes in the ground everywhere, you think it's fine, then you start digging, you hit ledge. It just
Right.
happens. So I don't want anybody to think that, people just started digging, and oh God, what are we into? There was extensive geotechnical work done, there was explorations by our civil team. It's just one of those things that unfortunately it happens, and we found it, so.
And in other areas, it's been 100% accurate, like the old fuel island that we had to remove, all the test borings showed that there was no oil spill.
Yeah.
And there's always the fear, though, when you dig it up. They had underground tanks. We dug it up, and there was no oil spill. They were completely intact. It was clean, thank goodness. And that's why the new fuel stations that you build nowadays have above-ground fuel tanks, so you don't have to, worry about what's leaking underground that you don't know about. So those soil tests proved to be 100% accurate. And we're doing well. We're excited. We are now looking at everything from what type of tiles on the floor to how high is the trim on the wall to what kind of faucets are we using. The details are amazing, but necessary. One other thing I wanted to just mention, I think everyone isn't aware about it. The tariffs, the president's tariffs were a big concern early on with the project. And they continue to be a concern. Initially, there was a 25% tariff. Let's use steel as an example. There was a 25% tariff on steel, which the contractors carried that amount in their bid. After the project started, the president doubled it to 50%. And there's a discussion now as who has to pay that extra 25% tariff, the town or the contractor. We're trying to work that out. I think it'll come to a good resolution. But it's one thing that, again, we're paying attention to. We're hoping, honestly, that the tariffs get reversed and it becomes a non-issue. So for now, we're not paying that bill. We're holding it off until things outside of Abington get resolved to see where we go so that we spend the money wisely. Anything else anyone wanted to discuss? I mean, I just wanted to get together and kind of update the town and some of the department heads as to where we were, but I think we're going to see a lot of movement quickly and as things now take shape. Now the buildings are, as I said, out of the ground. And then come the spring, you'll see a little bit more of the site work. I think the old salt shed is going to be coming down next
Friday?
week.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, right, tomorrow, now that the new salt shed's up and running. So it's really kind of exciting, and at the same time, it's exhausting. So, Bob, you have anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Derek?
No, it's been a long project, but things are moving forward.
Thankfully. Yes.
Sean, if I may, I just want to let residents know that are watching, even though we discussed a lot of information, thanks to Pomeroy and KBA and everyone, we're constantly updating. We'll update the website every couple of weeks with photos also, because I think it's important that the public see. Not everyone has time to drive by. It's really exciting. We go by all the time because we're either at the police station or doing business. But I think it's important for the residents to see where their money's going and how well the project's moving. We are very fortunate. It's great to have in-house people looking at stuff. I can't say enough about GNR. They did a project when I was in Marshfield. They built our police station, and the KBA was the architect for 2 of the projects. So Abington was very fortunate to get those great entities to be part of this incredible project.
Yeah, they are, and GNR is based in Hanover. So, it's close to home for them, so it's easy for mobilization. It worked out to Abbott's benefit. I've been very impressed with them. The quality of the work, but also the coordination and how they anticipate problems and they resolve them before they occur. And we are thrilled to now have one of our other committee members, Kevin Donovan, join us just as we're about to make a motion to adjourn.
Good. Well, let me do it then. Are you done?
We are, I think, unless,
Could I ask one thing?
yeah.
I mean, John, if you'd like, but I would just like to hear, it might be good to hear how the salt shed and fuel on kind of worked during the storm.
Yeah, if you come up to a microphone, John.
Just because it's newly online.
Yeah, it worked great. When we get a delivery, the delivery truck can actually back right into the salt shed. So it saves us from having to load it in.
Which couldn't be done before with the old
Couldn't be
one?
done before. But it worked out great. When we're done at the end of the storm, they back the truck in, spin it off.
And you have
Kudos to the design team and the contractor. It's a great salt shed.
I didn't know this until now, that inside the salt shed is what is it called, bromide?
Yes,
A bromide system where the salt actually gets sprayed before it goes out in the truck?
yes.
And
So we have plenty of room to dump it, spray it, move it into the back.
Because what does the bromide do?
It adds more salt to the salt.
Gotcha.
Makes it stronger. Makes the ice melt faster.
And the ramp, the loading ramp configuration worked out well?
We really haven't used the loading ramp yet because the asphalt to the side isn't done yet.
Gotcha.
But we got it done.
Good.
Once that's complete, where they put that drainage,
Yep.
B1 was that.
we'll be able to use the loading ramp.
Yeah, awesome.
But the guys loved it. I think it's a great
It
great
was
salt shed.
certainly a stress test.
Yeah, it was.
During that storm and while you guys are here, the fire department here and DPW, on behalf of the town, thanks for all the work you did during the storm. I know it was exhausting because the storm was so long.
Yes.
It's not a building committee issue, but just thank you for, the things you did, and I'm glad everyone, I haven't heard any bad stories, but hopefully everyone stayed safe.
I only have one question. Should we order more fuel? I mean, we don't know how much fuel we have.
Well, we got a 2,000 gallon delivery. So
Yeah, we got 1,900 of each.
Yeah, 1,500 of each.
1,500 of each, and it's probably almost gone.
Should probably have them check.
But we have no way
Yeah.
to monitor it,
Uh,
and we have no way to build the departments either.
Not yet. It's being set up. I want people to
It
know.
is, oh yeah, it's being set up.
The computer
Yeah, I'm
system.
not trying to scare anyone.
Right, right.
I'm just looking for direction. Do you want us to do it? I mean, does someone else want to order it?
We definitely need to get fuel. We got a potential nor'easter coming up.
Yeah.
Let's
I'd suggest,
order what we.
I'd suggest you talk to the town manager and to figure that.
Okay.
Yes, I guess you gotta have fuel in the fuel
It
tank.
doesn't look like a direct hit Sunday, but we're definitely getting something, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's cheaper than going to the gas station.
No,
As a building committee, we can't tell the town how much fuel to purchase, but I'm sure you guys can decide that. Mr. Donovan, did you want to
John, I had a question for John.
Sure, Bob.
Was the salt deliveries in a trailer
Yes,
or a smaller?
trailer. They fit the whole
So
trailer
so
inside
you're
the
able
door.
to, great.
Yeah, it worked out great.
Just
Great
as,
salt shed.
just as it was intended. And let me say this too, people say, oh, the salt shed's big. Like, we are replacing 2 salt sheds with 1, basically the similar
Same square footage.
size, right.
Yes.
Same thing, or the fire station's big, we're replacing 2 fire stations with 1.
Yes.
So, we have 5 bays on the 2 fire stations, we have 5 bays in the new fire station.
And we were proactive and removed some decaying trees around the salt shed,
Yes,
so they wouldn't come crashing down through our new
yeah,
salt shed.
again, good planning, and thank you for doing that. Mr. Donovan,
No, if it doesn't involve chickens, I don't have an opinion.
moving on. All right, then, if there's nothing else to be said, if I'll take a motion to adjourn it to the call of the chair. And, one other thing, and just so people at home know, every week there is a work meeting on site with Pomeroy and the general contractors. They go over all the details on at least a weekly basis, and at least one of the building committee members is always there. Sometimes the town department heads are there, which very much helps, because sometimes there's some quick answers to questions that are necessary. So we appreciate you guys staying on top of it. Not only just being there every day, but having that meeting every week is wonderful. Other than that, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Kevin to adjourn,
second that.
seconded by Derek. Roll call from Bob.
Aye.
Aye. Derek.
Aye.
Kevin.
Yes.
Sean says yes. 4-0. We are adjourned as of 9:38. Thank you all for coming to the meeting. Thank you all for tuning in, and we continue to hope that we see good things on Central Street.